They were right this entire time about everything, weren't they? Body thetans equals parasites and astral parasites. Xenu equals Anunnaki, ancient astronauts, spacecraft, nuclear bombs on ancient Mesopotamian stone carvings. Externalization equals astral projection and OBE. The whole structure of Scientology is literally on how to rid your body of astral parasites, body thetans, to ascend to your true potential known as clear thetan, even down to astral projecting at will, externalization. Setting aside some of the goofy shit like Xenu tricking aliens into tax audits or spaceships looking like modern-day airplanes, probably put there on purpose to trick people to look the other way when info was leaked, and there's actually some serious meat to chew on here in light of everything we've learned over the years. It would make perfect sense that the media would attempt to crucify this organization once the info leaks on Scientology lore came to light. What are your thoughts?
There's countless ways of saying the same thing. All of their ideas were probably from somewhere else with a coat of pulp fiction sci-fi slapped on top. I don't doubt that Hubbard was powerful consciously, but he was greedy and wished for material wealth. This is reflected in the current state of the organization, which exists to milk whales of whatever money they can get, and then when the church doesn't deliver what it says it should, it says oops, we did it wrong, do this now, no refunds. Whatever good ideas Scientology has can likely be found elsewhere without giving all of your money to it.
Agreed. It's a shame. They touch on a lot of key points that are important into today's day and age, knowing what we know now. But everything is prohibitively paywalled. I definitely think they have some secrets. I read somewhere, without diving too deep personally, that Scientologists who were proficient in externalization were even involved with Project Stargate. Everyone wants to talk about Masons, but absolutely no one gives Scientology a second thought. It almost seems by design.
Yeah? He basically followed in Crowley's footsteps by repackaging mystery knowledge into an easier decoded religion. Crowley spells it all out but in code, whereas I think Hubbard uses his sci-fi spin as the red herring. Both were and are character assassinated, which means however far they got it was only with some rebellious sect of TPTB. Parsons seems to have done it with NASA, but it also seems like they killed him or at least faked his death. If any were amenable to current Hollywood shenanigans, it sounds like he was with his proto-Diddy parties. There were even rumors of Crowley walking out of events looking years younger than when he went in, so there was already an adrenochrome scene among the LA elite back then. Whatever cult bourgeois resurgence happened on the West Coast, I think Hubbard failed to establish it in the East or pissed off groups that were already there entrenched in the military, etc. So he was kicked out and harassed, and they use the media to attack his little following to this day.
What part of Crowley's work refers to the equivalent of ridding yourself of astral parasites and alien invasions? His work just seems like New Age slop with an extra dose degeneracy.
Crowley failed to understand that the astral parasites have a physical correspondence in the body. He failed to address his inner demons, gut parasites, and in fact engaged in foul activities to encourage these proliferation. Thus he died, riddled with diseases and addictions, having never fully pieced together the puzzle of his great work. His final words were, "I am perplexed. Satan, get out." With his last breath, he finally realized the great Satan was a parasitic worm living inside of him, rent-free. At least Hubbard addresses the physical parasites in his protocols with the purging of body thetans vis. The purification rundown. Crowley never purged his body thetans and they eventually ate him up from the inside out. Satan won that battle.
Scientology is in part derived from, and shares elements with, a number of esoteric or occult systems. The extent of the influence of specific occult belief systems on Scientology is a subject of debate amongst scholars. Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard claimed to have had a near-death experience in 1938 that inspired him to write Excalibur, an unpublished manuscript based on the revelations from the experience. In 1945-46, Hubbard was involved with and defrauded Jack Parsons, an American rocketry pioneer who was also a devoted thelemite and member of the Agape Lodge of Aleister Crowley's magical order, Ordo Templi Orientis, in Pasadena, California. In 1950, Hubbard published Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health, and in 1953 he organized the Church of Scientology. Hugh B. Urban, a scholar on religion who has written much about Scientology, writes that while some writers, such as John Atack, assert that Crowley's ideas on magic are at the core of Scientology, others, including Roy Wallace and J. Gordon Melton, have dismissed the connection between occultism and the Church. He argues further that the occult elements are combined with concepts in Eastern religions, science fiction, popular psychology, and Hubbard's own thoughts, while confirming that there is one element that is related to the occult in Scientology. Hubbard's eldest son, Ronald Dewulf, related a story that L. Ron Hubbard had first discovered magic at the age of 16 when he read Aleister Crowley's The Book of the Law. Author John Atack reports that Hubbard joined the Rosicrucian order, ancient and mystical order Rosicrucis, a Mork, in 1940, completing the first 2 neophyte degrees. According to Atack, Hubbard's membership lapsed on July 5, 1940. Although the details are not known to the public, it appears as though Hubbard was sued by Amorc for breach of contract after the advent of Scientology, with Amorc arguing that the terms within Hubbard's contract stated that he would not resell or distribute what he had learned within their order, and that he had indeed done so. In August 1945, Hubbard moved into the Pasadena mansion of John Jack Whiteside Parsons, an avid occultist and thelemite, follower of the English ceremonial magician Aleister Crowley and leader of a lodge of Crowley's magical order, Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO. Parsons and Hubbard collaborated on the Bubbulin working, a sex magic ritual intended to summon an incarnation of Bubbulin, the supreme thelemite goddess.
LMAO Scientology is a satanic cult. Does anything besides just believing in God is retarded. Christianity is the closest to the truth.
Scientology is bootleg thelema, and thelema is bootleg dandara. Hubbard learned the occult scam from Crowley and dressed it up in science fiction. Crowley himself dressed it up in fantasy fiction. It's all only Tandara. Just study Buddhism.
Meditation as taught by Buddhism, or at least whatever variation of it is being peddled to dupes today, is a bullshit trap that invites astral parasites into your mind and leads you to get possessed, not expelling them like you should. The way true enlightenment comes is through having your ego and conscious mind be able to control and manipulate the mysterious powers of your subconscious mind. Not through ego death and collapsing your conscious mind to dust so you can end up controlled by demons and parasites from the realm of your subconscious mind. Astral projection itself is literally maintaining consciousness while visiting the realm of the subconscious mind. Scientology has nothing to do with Buddhism, and neither does anyone else who values themselves or their sanity.
Scientologist cultist revealed. How much did you pay for some kook to tell you Buddhism is astral parasites LMAO?
The anti-Scientology craze of the early 2000s glowed hard as fuck. It was way too organized and widespread. Maybe take a moment and reflect on whether you idiots perhaps got played or not for a certain purpose or agenda.
Not sure if bait or just retarded.
I have watched you people prey on people in rehabilitation, when they are at their weakest, all in the name of belonging. Then you suck their soul dry and make them indentured slaves. There are a lot of empty buildings in Clearwater, lots of Asians around too. I love the Japanese, but I am not so sure that is who they are. I wonder if those are bunk rooms or sweatshops? You have even built your own chain of rehabilitation centers. Go jump in your silver Porsche, make sure to get the Sea Org to wash it for you. Your time is coming. When all truths are revealed, you will be in the front of the line. I can't wait for that.
I'm not a Scientologist, just someone interested in the core esoteric material and the very real idea of astral parasites and how to rid yourself of them, not the church or organization itself.
Good, curiosity is a good thing. Just know that curiosity leads to opinions and opinions lead to beliefs. Everyone wants to belong to something, just make sure that something is worth eternity. This religion stuck Dianetics in my head since I was a little kid. The commercials were everywhere, especially while I was watching Nickelodeon and Bozo the Clown. Fuck them for that. By the way, Hubbard hatchlings, did you finish the tunnels yet?
Did anyone else's school make them go to a Scientology church as a trip? I just remembered this when talking to a friend the other day. They made us go around year 2 or 3, UK and on, and gave us a bunch of leaflets and books. Everyone had a weird plastic and artificial look about their face, told us that material relationships with friends and family were the cause of all our problems, and that we needed to cut those ties in order to be happy and successful. They would also try to scare us by talking about death and bad things, sometimes even yelling at us and making some of us tear up and cry. Then they would say stuff like, "Oh, you looked scared, Scientology can help you overcome your fear." They'd often like to point out our physical state. "Now you're sweating, your lip is shaking, tears are welling up, etc., and try to use it to manipulate us. I have no idea how the fuck the teachers were okay with any of this, or how this trip even went ahead. Some of my friends remember similar experiences, so I wonder how much influence these hidden religions truly have in our societies. It is terrifying to think about, that not even children are safe from this creepy brainwashing bullshit. What else do they know about us? Do they have names, addresses, next of kin or employment details? I mean, they already know where we went to school, so maybe it would not be hard to stalk and track a target they have chosen. Why would they even want to expose their ideology to small children anyways? Was it just a means to get the rich kids to pester their parents to part with their money, or was something more sinister going on? My friends remember this clearly too. We all laugh and joke about it these days, but it makes us confused as well. I'm posting this thread to see if there are others out there who know what I'm on about. I don't believe this to be an isolated phenomenon. PIC-related is the sort of leaflet they would give to us, but more catered to children rather than adults.
I've always wondered why Scientology and Freemasonry and the OTO seem to reference each other. Off topic, but what is the link between these organizations? Because I could never figure it out.
Hubbard was doing sex magic rituals with Jack Parsons.
Ew! Crowley was formerly a member of a Masonic lodge, which influenced the teachings he made of thelema and the OTO. Then Scientology was also influenced by thelema through L. Ron Hubbard's friendship with Jack Parsons, a thelemite who was close to Crowley. He collaborated with Parsons on the Babylon working, a somewhat insane sex magic rite Parsons had with his wife to summon or incarnate a supposed manifestation of Babylon, a thelemite goddess. Also, it's said one of the first books that got LRH interested in magic and the occult was Aleister Crowley's The Book of the Law. Interestingly, what Crowley did was claim he'd found the lost word of the Masons and it was sex magic and such rites, as in the occultist Pascal Beverly Randolph's claims, which he in fact claimed was bringing the true teachings of the Rosicrucians back, the rose and cross as a sexual symbol, I suppose, and Crowley also pilfered Rosicrucian lore and symbolism. So the claim was essentially he was bringing the even more ancient, pagan rites and truths at the heart of Masonry, but superseding it with a newer, more accurate, powerful occult order, of the OTO. So Masonry and Rosicrucianism influenced the OTO and Crowley's thelema. This itself influenced Scientology through Hubbard, who got a lot of influence from Parsons, particularly. Crazy stuff.
You need to understand Crowley's concept of true will. Many people think that thelema is all about sex rituals and all these eerie things. Although this is an important part of Crowley's system, what the Megatherian wanted was to develop a system where people could, 1. Conquer their fears and embrace life. 2. Get rid of all the baggage of false beliefs we acquired in life. 3. Discover their higher purpose, their true will. 4. Enact this true will, therefore making the world a better place. 5. Your true will is in fact the ultimate good you can do in life. A lot in the doctrine of Scientology explores that, but it does so with different names and concepts as I explained above. Of course, there is the link between LRH and Jack Parsons, The story that they've done Babylon working together. Parsons was in direct contact with Crowley before he died. In a way, he was the most faithful disciple. Before he blown himself up when he messed up experimenting a new jet fuel.
Jet fuel melts Jack Parsons.
Scientology is based on half-truths. This whole thing about improving yourself is alright, however the brainwashing is not. Turning your own mind against yourself with all that talk about the reactive mind and how it is the reactive mind that prevents you from joining Scientology, lol. They put children to the same standard as a grown-up. Wake the F up. Children are children that need to have their needs met growing up and not be treated as a grown-up just to develop PTSD or trauma from being threatened to be abandoned. Then Scientology are obsessed with control and they are educated to manipulate and control their environment. The whole thing is just dysfunctional in the long run. To save the planet is just to lure you in, to make you think they are the good guys. The bridge to total freedom is actually the bridge to total entrapment.
This LRH picked a bunch of old, good ideas and transformed it into a for-profit religion. The idea of becoming clear is basically a purification ritual present in almost all religions. It's true, you need to become clear in your life, get away from attachments and things that are making up your ego, in order to live your full potential. The so-called engrams are true too, but they are not alien spirits inside of you. Think of how you were a child, you didn't have much social baggage by then. It was easy for you to assess what you really wanted. Let's say, as a child you wanted to become an astronaut because life was simple, you wanted to explore the mysteries of space and be an adventurer. As you grew old, you realized you couldn't be an astronaut because it's a profession for the few, and you couldn't live your life exploring the mysteries of the universe, you had to make money. So let's say you ended up studying business or accountancy as an adult, something that was never your desire to begin with. That's basically how the opinions of others drifted you away from your true desires and you became full of implanted foreign spirits in your soul. What Scientology did was to change the name of that, calling it engrams and saying these foreign desires are dead aliens inside of you. So then you gotta spend a fortune in order to get rid of these engrams by becoming an operating thing. This will remove your fear. It makes sense that Cruz does his own stuff. In fact, Scientology helped him to conquer his fear, but by the other hand, he became a slave to them because they have all the dirt on him. So, they are basically amassing money playing with true concepts, such as true will, higher self, alchemical wedding, etc. Hubbard was a great occultist. So it's a cult with some good premise, but it uses all of it for evil purposes, getting all your money, making you part of their property.
I remember when 4chan tried to wipe Scientology out, and now we're here. Being an old fag sure can be exhausting.
Scientology is the same as every religion. It's a deep state-ran cult used to get dirt on its members.
And then they use that dirt. I mean, it's so documented it's unreal. Now I also imagine there is even a dirt digging group for the dirt diggers, you know, in case one of them gets out of line. Like, it will end up cannibalizing itself eventually. I get LP is gonna be successful anyways even if the music sucks because the other members are gonna bankroll the concerts and shit. Makes you wonder what dirt they had on the decision makers for LP. Basically turning LP into a bona fide money laundering op sucks, man. Why are humans like this? I actually don't mind some of the artists. It is what it is though. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Eventually it'll cannibalize itself or it will run out of prospective members. Much like what I heard the Mormon Church was going through.
Read Going Clear. Or, actually, don't read it at all because it's trash. In the book it says that people are brainwashed and that Scientology uses CIA techniques like MKUltra to completely brainwash people in Scientology. It was written by a journalist and is a really long book. I've read more than half and it spends most of the book saying L. Ron Hubbard was a fraud and that he just wanted to make a get-rich-quick scheme by creating a new religion. Then after some time, he says that it wasn't that after all, and it was meant to actually help people and that L. Ron Hubbard was in fact not trying to scam anyone. Like any piece of journalistic work, you're supposed to draw your own conclusions, But when he spends quite literally over 200 pages talking about how it was a scam and that the people in it are completely brainwashed, it kinda loses its ability for you to make your own judgment after one single line saying that it wasn't really that after all.
I was reading the Wikipedia on Dianetics when it says auditing uses techniques from hypnosis which are intended to create dependency and obedience in the auditing subject. Can anyone elaborate on this shit or point out how exactly this is supposed to work? Thanks.
Hubbard was known to his associates in the late 1940s as a talented hypnotist. During this period, he worked in Hollywood posing as a swami. The church says that Hubbard's experience with hypnosis led to his discovery of the principles of Dianetics as a technique for solving man's problems. The Affirmations is a document purportedly written by Hubbard in the late 1940s, a few years before he established Dianetics or Scientology. The Affirmations appear to have been intended to be used as a form of self-hypnosis. Many suggestions encourage Hubbard to believe in his own occult powers, that I believe in my gods and spiritual things. That my magical work is powerful and effective. You are psychic. Several suggestions reference a guardian spirit. You can do automatic writing whenever you wish. You do not care what comes out on the paper when your guardian dictates. Nothing can intervene between you and your guardian. She cannot be displaced because she is too powerful. She does not control you. She advises you. The most thrilling thing in your life is your love and consciousness of your guardian. You can talk with her and audibly hear her voice above all others. Another suggestion involves numerology, that the numbers 7, 25, and 16 are not unlucky or evil for me. Scholars have noted that the Affirmations contain themes that reappeared later in Scientology. One affirmation foreshadows Hubbard's future interest in mental healing: you understand all the workings of the minds of humans around you, for you are a doctor of minds, bodies, and influences. Lawrence Wright suggests Hubbard is using techniques on himself that he would later develop into Dianetics. He draws parallels with the practice of auditing used in Dianetics and Scientology, noting that the Affirmations and Dianetics both involve tackling difficult memories that hold back mental and spiritual progress. The Affirmations became public knowledge during the 1984 lawsuit against Hubbard's former archivist, Gerald Armstrong. In that settlement, Armstrong was required to return all originals and copies of the documents commonly known as the Affirmations written by L. Ron Hubbard. As religious studies scholar Hugh Urban comments, here the church clearly indicates that the text was written by L. Ron Hubbard, and it seems difficult to understand why the church would file suit to retain ownership of the text were it not an authentic document.